Hello, monsters abound here, and welcome to this Lizardman lore video. If you'd like to jump right to the campaign, there should be a button somewhere. I'll put it on Mazdamundi's face. Otherwise, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about who the Lizardmen are and who Mazdamundi is, then keep watching. Enjoy. The Lizardmen are probably one of the most unique races in Warhammer, being that they are giant walking Aztec lizards, but despite looking like cranky man dinosaurs, they are actually one of the factions that are considered good guys. A lot of people think that Lizardmen are a sort of hive mind with no will of their own, and just do as they're told. As far as I'm aware, this is not the case. Saurus are very obedient and will do as they are told, but not because they have no choice. They just never consider to say no. If a Slan tells them to do something, they'll go and bloody well do it. Why wouldn't they? That's the way of things. The Skinks are even more autonomous than their Saurus brethren, frequently go and do things that Slan probably wouldn't want them to, such as deciding that to bring back the old ones they should start worshipping volcanoes, mountains, the sun, potted plants, you name it. They even decide to start performing living sacrifice. I mean, anything's worth a try, right? As the Slan spend most of their time meditating for years, decades, or even centuries at a time, they often wake up to a lot of weird shit going on because Skinks thought it was a good idea. Imagine hosting a children's birthday party and taking a nap after everyone has eaten their body weight in cake and sweets and waking up to the resultant chaos, and you get the idea. So the Lizardmen were created by the Old Ones to help them with the great undertaking. The Old Ones were aliens of a sort, and that's about all we know about them. They were technologically advanced as they created the polar warp gates to travel between worlds, and some of their technology survives to this day. Krokgar carries around magical items that, if you read between the lines, are almost certainly some form of power weapon and a wrist-mounted laser cannon. The different types of Lizardmen were made for different jobs. Saurus are the soldiers, Skinks as the servants, and Slan as the administrators. When the polar warp gates collapsed and everything went tits up, the Slan were left to try and fix the problem, but unfortunately, like me trying to set up the DVD player, they just didn't know how. The Old Ones were beings impossible to comprehend, and their plan had just gone royally up shit creek without a paddle, on fire, and being molested by tentacles. Despite the total cock-up and the Old Ones making a sharp exit, the Slan did their best and at least managed to seal most of the breach in reality, the strain killing roughly half of their number to do so. Despite their best efforts, they could not fully heal the rent, and innumerable demons now surged out of the rift, heading straight for the Lizardmen and their cities. The Slan, despite exhausted from their attempt to fix the problem, prepared for a hopeless battle. Titanic confrontations spanning entire continents erupted as the Lizardmen met the demons. Although the legions of Saurus were stoic and savage, they were outnumbered infinity to one. But with the Saurus were the Slan, and although they were not the equal of their masters, the Old Ones, the Slan, were still groin-grabbingly powerful wizards. They deleted billions of demons from existence every heartbeat, but despite their best efforts, there were always more to take their place. If the demons lost 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 of their kind to pull down a single Saurus warrior, they were still winning. Lizardmen had to fall back. They retreated to their cities, and using the potent network of ley lines to strengthen each individual city, they erected shields around them to keep them safe for a time. Demons pressed on the walls like small malevolent children, squishing their faces up against aquarium display glass, desperate to get in and tear every last Lizardman apart. Despite the power of the Slan, they could not keep it up forever, and eventually the first city fell. Zaltek fell first, and its collapse weakened the network as a whole. Other cities fell soon afterwards. After 1,000 years of relentless war, only a handful of Lizardman cities remained. At last the demons had reached Itza, the capital and linchpin of the Lizardman defence. The Slan Lord of Itza was Lord Krok, the most powerful of the Slan at the time, and boy did he let the demons know it. After years of single-handedly maintaining the shield defending Itza, even Lord Krok had to call it a day, and he did so with the flair of an absolute fucking diva, by blowing the barrier and subsequently every demon within a 10-mile radius to their component atoms. The demons then flooded in, and the battle for the city began in earnest, street by bloody street. The fighting took days, and despite the defenders' best efforts, they eventually succumbed. Lord Krok prepared his final incantation, and so powerful was his spell that reality and time itself strained, and trillions of demons died in fire. It took 12 bloodthirsters, greater demons of Khorne, to kill Krok, but even then he decided he didn't have time for this death malarkey, and his spirit then proceeded to float above the city and kill every demon within view, while the Chaos Gods probably ran to Reddit to complain about how Croak was a Mary Sue and totally OP. Despite the almost total destruction of Itza, the city was saved by the last-ditch effort of Croak, and the other cities continued their holding action against the demonic swarm. Eventually, the elves pulled their collective thumb out of their arses and set up the vortex, which the Lizardmen really should have thought of, but to be fair, 1. 99% of the demon horde was trying to murder them, so they were kind of busy, and 2. They did, unknowingly to the High Elves, assist with the setting up and continue to assist with the maintenance of the vortex. With the vortex now draining the magic out of the world, the demons faded away and the world was safe. Ish. Unfortunately, the sheer level of devastation wrought by the invasion was horrific. Most of the Old One's knowledge was lost or scattered, and the majority of the Lizardmen's cities lay in ruins. To this day, the Slann continue to attempt to piece together the Old One's plan, like a piece of IKEA furniture, but they've got pieces for 5 very similar chests of drawers all mixed together. They've only got a couple of scraps of the instructions, and someone keeps nicking the Allen key. While most of the Slann meditate for hundreds of years, mulling over the problem, only stirring for a time before lapsing back into meditation, Mazdamundi is a bit different. Mazdamundi is currently the oldest living Slann. He was an apprentice to the OP Lord Croak, and has probably learned some of the crazy old bastard's tricks. So why is Mazdamundi important? Well, the new races are always a bit of a problem for the Slann because they keep getting in the way. Near Hexotl, a Tillian mercenary named Al Cavedo kept coming to Lustria to set up a colony. Each time, Mazdamundi's skink priests would awaken Mazdamundi to ask him what to do, and each time Mazdamundi would groggily tell them to kick the stupid git off his continent. The third time this happened, Mazdamundi was pissed. This was the third time in a fucking decade he'd been bothered. What the hell, guys? After a quick reading of some tablets, he decided he was basically going to keep being interrupted unless he dealt with it himself. So, with a roll of the eyes and a sigh, he set off, killed the mercenary so hard that even Khorne would have suffered an attack of the Vapours, and then Mazdamundi returned to sleep, or at least tried. Because he never quite managed to go back to nodding off, and would wait to hear some bad guys were nearby before immediately springing out of bed, muttering something along the lines of alright, I'll do it, before running off, with a big smile on his chubby little face. Of all the Slann priests, Mazdamundi's got the get up and go spirit. Most recently, plaques of the Old Ones were uncovered by the Slann, and Mazdamundi has learned that the Slann had screwed up. They thought they were on step 3 of the Old One's IKEA chest of drawers, but in fact they'd been using the wrong screws, and frankly most of it was upside down, and some of it in the wrong dimension. After mulling things over for a bit, Mazdamundi saw the problem. The races that were not part of the plan were mucking it up. They were either accidentally or purposefully getting underfoot and ruining everything. It would be a lot easier to sort this out if they weren't here. The thing to understand about Lizardmen is that they're not evil, but they do have a job to do, and if that job means destroying a few million people, then that's a sacrifice that the Slann don't really care if those people make, because they don't really care about anything except their interpretation of what remains of a plan that uninterpretable beings were possibly planning to do, maybe, or not, but worth a go, right? Thank you for watching.